When sales are not performing, it usually comes down to the person that's doing the proposals and doing the quotes. It's coming down to one's ability to differentiate between intrinsic value and perceived value. For some reason in 2025, I've hit too many painting business owners that are under scheduling to the capacity of their team. You can't invoice what you don't paint. Is your painting business painting enough work to be invoiced to hit that revenue target? The answer is either yes or no. If your painting business is not hitting the revenue target that you have set, I want you to have a look at. Hey guys, welcome to the Painter's Circle, where we help painting business owners scale their operations, increase profitability, and gain more time freedom. I'm Taz Mullis, and in this podcast, I'll share actionable tips, expert strategies, and real-world insights that'll help you grow your painting business without burning you out. Ready to take your painting business to the next level? Let's go. Oh yeah! What we're going to do today is something very different, but something I really love doing it. We're going to spend the next 20 or so minutes working through an actual painting business owner's pain point. So it's going to be like a live coaching call to the masses. Now, I'm not going to share with you the real identity of this person, but just understand that we're going to be covering probably a lot of the pain points that you probably are going through right now or that you've got coming up. Cool? Cool. So let's get cracking. Now, I'm going to be talking to you, but looking at this iPad just to remind myself where this person's at. All right, let's get cracking. Now, Craig has mid-30s. He has a business, a painting business that's just over $1 million a year. He's aiming for 300K net profit. And his financial goals is he wants to increase the profitability while reducing his personal involvement in the business. Cool. Craig is a male. Cool. And in the painting industry and the painting business. Now, the desired outcome is he wants to build a profitable business. He wants to scale the business once he's nailed the 3 Ps, pricing, performance, and pipeline. Got that. And he doesn't want to be there being the bottleneck to all the decisions in that business. Now, ideally, he wants to achieve 300K net profit, reducing his time in the business from 5 days to 3 days and less than that. And he wants to develop a high-performance team, and he wants consistent and reliable clients and jobs, and he wants to establish better systems and financial management for his business. Do any of those sound familiar to you? Are they any goals that you want to achieve in your business? If so, let's get cracking. So, pain point number 1 is not hitting revenue targets. Cool. Well, Craig, Tony, John, whoever's out there listening, do you have this pain point in your business, in your painting business, that you're not currently hitting revenue targets? Now, for the most part, when I'm talking to painting business owners, the one thing they always come at me with, Taz, is, Taz, we need to make more sales. And I go, cool. Why is that? Because we're not hitting our revenue targets. I go, okay. Why do you feel that your revenue targets is a direct correlation to sales? You could be making sales and not performing at the right pace that you should be, or your pipeline is not where it should be, or the performance of your team is not keeping up with the amount of sales. So before you rush into the really cool and sexy thing of making more sales to fix the problem, sometimes it's not a sales problem. So in this particular instance, we did a deep dive into his business, and I want you to follow me down this train track that I'm going to go right now. So if your business right now is do not believe you're hitting your revenue targets. I want you to think about this. Now, revenue is in output. Remember, 3 core functions of the business. We have input, sales and marketing. We have throughput, scheduling and delivery, which is the painting. And we have output, which is invoicing, business administration, tracking the numbers, and all the data management and performance of your business. We have 3 functions. Now, revenue sits in output. What does that say to you? What it says to me is it is last. So revenue is being driven by what? You're asking, Taz, I don't know. Tell me. So revenue is being driven by the performance of your team. So the delivery, because revenue, invoicing, you can't invoice what you don't paint. Fair to say? Cool. So the first step is identifying if you're not hitting your revenue target, is your painting business painting enough work to be invoiced to hit that revenue target? The answer is either yes or no. I haven't gone all over to sales because sales is first. We have a revenue problem, which is last, and we haven't identified what is the middle part, throughput. So if your revenue is not where it should be, and let's hypothetically say in Craig's business model right now, he's over $1 million per year. So on average, it's about $1 million per month in revenue, but he's only achieving 80K. So he's 20K off, 20% off. Cool? Cool. So if he's only invoicing 80K per month, that means the team is only painting 80K worth of work per month. Have I got you? Have I still got you? Have I lost you? I hope not. So the first question I want to know is, why is it that the painting team or crew or individuals can only hit 80K per month? We don't know. Ask another question. We go back another step. Are we scheduling 100,000 or 100K worth of work for our team to get done per month? If we're not scheduling and we're scheduling 80K and the team are painting 80K and we're invoicing 80K, do we have a sales problem? Depends. I don't know yet. But I do know that they're underscheduled. Now, we are making the assumption that Craig's team has the capacity to paint and deliver $80,000 worth of painting services per month. That's the target. So the goal, the outcome is the 100K revenue. The driver is the ability to paint $100,000 of work so you can invoice $100,000 of work. The precursor to the driver is the scheduling. Are we scheduling? And if we're not scheduling that amount, we have a scheduling problem. We don't have a sales problem. But let's say he's scheduling $100,000 of work and they aren't finishing $100,000 of work. So now we have a performance problem. So right now we understand, okay, if we're scheduling the 100K and we're painting 80, we have a capacity problem or performance problem. Do we have enough bodies to finish the work? Or two, is our team keeping up with our targets? But let's take this back another level. If sales is hitting 100K worth of sales per month and we're only scheduling 80, the boys and girls are painting 80, then the outcome is 80. So it's really important to understand the entire workflow of the work being done in your business. So revenue is a result. It's a result of invoicing. Invoicing is a result of throughput. It's a result of delivery. Are we delivering the work that's being scheduled? Yes or no? Now, in this instance, having worked with Craig for a little while, and funnily enough, this happened a lot this year. We had at least a half a dozen clients have this exact same problem. And the problem was they didn't have a sales problem, by the way. They were winning work consistently and their pipeline was filling up 3 to 6 months. So plenty of work in the pipeline. The problem was they dropped their ball in scheduling. So no one was responsible for scheduling the 100K that needed to get done. So what was happening is the team was only painting what was given to them. So they were pretty much underperforming, not because of lack of workload, but because they weren't given enough work to do. So if you in your business right now, if your painting business is not hitting the revenue target that you have set, before you jump all the way to the beginning and get to the cool, sexy stuff, and I like the sexy stuff, I do like sales, I always like to go there too. But before we do that, I want you to have a look at the team. So if your revenue is 100 and you're invoicing 80, that means they're painting 80. Are you scheduling 80 or are you scheduling 100? That's the very first question you got to fix. Usually, when I say usually, it just for some reason in 2025, I've hit too many painting business owners that are under scheduling to the capacity of their team. Have a look at that. Are you under scheduling to the capacity of your team? That's the first question. If you are, fix that. If you aren't, then you have to look at sales. Are we bringing enough sales to schedule the 100, to do the 100, to invoice the 100? Got that? So don't jump to the bright, shiny, sexy object of sales and say you have a sales problem. More than likely, you have a scheduling problem or a capacity problem or a performance problem. Cool? Cool. All right, let's move on to the next one. So, team performance. Fixing the quote system. So team performance. So The pain point is the team is not performing. All right. We can use the same analogy. The same business right now. So Craig's team, he feels, is underperforming. Now, this is a really interesting one because for whatever reason, most painting business owners I talk to don't set clear targets for their operational team. When I say clear targets for the operational team, I don't want to confuse it and use big flashy words like KPIs or critical success factors. I want to keep it really, really simple for us. You have a job. You've quoted or estimated that job and you won that job. Now, more than likely, you have budget hours or budget days, because otherwise, how did you come with that value? You've got time and materials. Even if you have a schedule of rates, it's broken down into time and materials, two factors. So there's a time allowance and a material allowance for that job. Cool. How many, and I'm talking to you, of you painting business owners actually communicate to your team what those budget hours are? I can hear a pin drop because I ask this question a lot and not many people actually say yes, they do. For some reason, they don't want to communicate to their team and give visibility on the targets. But I'm going to tell you right now, if they don't know what they're aiming for, they're never going to hit it. Most of the time, most of our teams don't have clear targets, so they don't hit the target. So your job as a business owner is to communicate clearly what is the outcome of this job. For you, the number one metric in running a profitable performance operational team is target budget hours. Understand that? The amount of hours to complete that job. That is the number one target for that team. That needs to be communicated to the team. Otherwise, this is what happens time and time again. You get the job, you win the job, you give it to the guys. They do a fantastic job, but they don't do it to a commercial time frame. They're just doing it to get it done. Without a target, they are more likely going to go over that number. And if they go under, I'll tell you what, it's it's fluke. It was a complete accident. So if you want to understand the performance of your team, improve the performance of your team, you have to actually give them something to perform to. How is it that they can, how is it possible that they could hit a target if they don't know what the target is? You must communicate what that is. Now, there's three. I'm giving the number one, which is target hours. What is the budget target hours for this job? Communicate to the team, check in with the team, and their job, because they are tradesmen or women, they are painters and or brush hands and apprentices, is to work as a team, use their skills to hit that target budget hours. That is how you best manage the performance of your team. Now, I'm only talking about operational performance, okay? I'm not talking about cultural performance and retention of your entire team. We're just focusing on operational performance right now. Now, that's step one. Step two is track the actual. So now you have a job and let's say it's 100 hours on that job. The budget hours is 100. In real time, you're counting up the hours per day, per week. At the end of the job, you go, wow, we did it in 98 hours. Winner. You gave them a target, they came under target. You win. You do another job, it's 100 hours, and they take 102 hours. It's just feedback. It's feedback to assess how can we improve next time. Was it a performance issue? Was it a client chucking in variations issue? Was it weather? Was it we didn't allow enough prep? The feedback from working out why you went over 2 hours is the most important part of the result. Painting business owners and people get too hung up on we didn't hit the target. The only reason for having a target is to get feedback to know how to improve. Funnily enough, most times it's because the jobs are underpriced. Most times. But I don't want to say that out loud because it's never your fault. Right? Cool. So operational improvement, operational performance, your number one critical metric in running your teams and running your operations is having target budget hours and tracking actual hours against it. The difference is feedback. Positive or negative, it's just feedback. Cool? Cool. All right, let's go to the next one for Greg. Just quickly, guys, if you're a painting business owner and you're overworked, overwhelmed, and underpaid, we can help. Hit the link below in the show notes to learn more. Now back to the episode. All right, Craig, Sales and conversion is low. I'm assuming sales is low. Cool. That's a big one because it's like saying, how do I improve my marketing? It's such a big thing, but I'm gonna drill it down and keep it very specific. So usually, now we're making assumptions that leads are coming in, nothing's changed in the business, our pricing's the same, our team's the same, and everything's going well. There's no pandemics or any structural changes to the environment that's going on right now. That when sales are not performing, it usually comes down to the person that's doing the proposals and doing the quotes. It's coming down to one's ability to differentiate between intrinsic value and perceived value. So I'm going to go into a sales conversation right now. Typically, as business owners, we sell the intrinsic value of what we do. And I want to keep this simple. I don't want to make this more complicated than it needs to. I hear this all the time when I'm talking to painters and I'm role playing with painters, is they tell me how long they've been in business, how reliable they are, how experienced they are, what paints they use, what products they use, what scaffold they use, what team they use, what shirts they wear, what hats they wear. They want to talk about, to the client, they want to talk about the process. They want to talk about all the things that they do. They want to talk about all the pieces of the puzzle. I'll give you a hint. People don't give a crap about that. As painters, we do. For whatever reason, our identity is built on being a painter, and we feel the need to communicate all the effort that we've done to get to where we are, how much time, resources, and money we spent to become the person we are today. They don't care. What they care about is, how will you give me the outcome that I want? And you can't get that without asking questions. So your job during the sales presentation or the sales process is to ask questions. Why do I want it done? Why is it important to me? What am I looking for? What I'm looking at getting done? Is it a sooner thing or a later thing? What is my expected budget or investment amount? These questions need to come out because the objective of sales is to be of service. To be of service is I need to find out as much information from you about why you want it done, not why I can do it for you, because you don't care about me, you care about you. So typically when sales aren't performing, we are naturally falling into selling intrinsic value, which is pieces, process, and things, and we're not selling outcomes and results and payoff for the client. Very two different camps right now. Intrinsic is I can paint faster, the paint dries quicker, the paint cleans better. Everyone can say the same thing. It's very hard to go, well, my paint dries 10 minutes faster than that paint. Or I can paint 5 minutes faster or 10 minutes faster per hour than that guy. It gets capped. But my ability to find out from you what it is that you want and give you what you want, that's perceived value. So if I can give you exactly what you want, when you want it, how you want it, it's way more value than caring about how fast I paint. That's one area that potentially Craig is tanking in sales. The other one, and they're very linked, is we mistake convincing for sales. So when I'm role-playing with clients or talking to clients about their sales process, they're trying to convince me that they are the right person for the job. Convincing is, if I'm convincing you on something, I'm selling you what I want you to buy from me. So it's all about me. I'm convincing you for my benefit. Now, selling, when done well, because selling to me, selling is service, is persuasion. Very different. Convincing and persuasion are the complete opposites. So persuasion is finding out exactly what you want, how you want it, when you want it, what's going to work for you, and giving you what you want, not what I want. Convincing is giving you what I want. When we come from a position of convincing, which is selling process, pieces, and all the things and bits and pieces, that's convincing. I'm over talking what I can do for you. Versus when I'm persuading, my job is just to find out what you want. Now, the easiest way to do that is to take off your painter hat, take off your business hat, and stop assuming you know what they want. It's so easy. I see it every single time. Like when I shadow a client when they're doing quotes or I'm role playing with them, They go into it with all these assumptions. They may have the notes, and the notes may say exterior repaint of a Queenslander, and they'll go in telling the client what they need to do. You need to do this. You need to do that. We can do this. We can do that. You're not letting the client share what they want. I like to go into the conversation like I'm a 10-year-old kid, that I absolutely know nothing about what you want. Now, I know how to paint, and I know all the mechanics and all the processes of how to do my job, but I know nothing why you want this job. So the only thing that I'm focusing on is finding out exactly what you want. I'm not assuming you want 2 coats. I'm not assuming you want Dulux, Wattle, or Tormans. I'm not assuming you're doing it because you want to sell the house. I'm not assuming it because you're down. I'm not making zero assumptions. The reason why it's really important in sales, if you want to improve sales and maintain a steady, healthy conversion of profitable jobs, is by finding out what the client wants. When they say it, they believe it. Here is what I'm trying to share right now. People, unless they're bipolar or psychotic, people will generally believe what they say. So if the client tells you, I want to paint this house because we're renovating and my kids are moving back home and we want to extend the house and we want it to look nice and great and blah, 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 and we want to improve the value, they believe that. But if you tell them, are you doing this because of da-da? They don't believe you because they need to say it to you. It's a very subtle distinction. Same outcome, very different buy-in. When they tell you what they want, they believe it. When you tell them what they want, they don't believe you because they need to say it. Very different though, if they tell you, Taz, we're looking at getting this done because we want to get ready by Christmas because we're going to sell in October. We want to maximize the value and we're looking to get done with quality paints and blah, 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 right? They tell you that. You can active listen and tell them back to them. If you repeat back to them what they told you, guess what happens? They go, wow, he knows exactly what I want. No, you just repeated back exactly what they said to them. So, Craig, if you have a problem with sales, I want you to look at 2 parts. One, are you focusing on convincing versus being of service, selling a persuasion? That's the first part. Or 2, focusing on the outcomes, not focusing on the pieces, the process, and all the things. Because typically as business owners, we want to tell people all the cool things we do, we've done, our experiences, our people, our products. We feel like that is the value. It is not. That intrinsic value is not the value to them. It's in value to us. I'm not saying it's zero value. It's just not the most important value to the client. And we have to focus on the outcome to them. So that's that second piece. Okay, on to the last one. Craig, overworked and burnt out. Cool. Does anyone else feel they've ever been overworked and burnt out in their business? Just me? Yeah? Okay. Listen, it's going to happen from time to time, and we have to understand there are seasons in business. Sometimes you have to have the hat on, have the hustle hat on and do the reps, and sometimes you have to take a step back. When you're feeling overworked or overwhelmed, this is usually what happens. You are so close to everything, there's too much information coming at you, all right? The best analogy I like to use is, you probably used Google Earth before, okay? Well, maybe just me. And you go to Google Earth and you zoom out and you're like 30,000 feet in the air and you're looking at your city, your town. You go, great, looks all really good. Then you zoom in like 20,000 feet, 10,000 feet and you get closer and closer. But then you zoom into your house and you can just see your house, right? When we get overwhelmed is sometimes we've got too much going, we're standing too far back and there's too many options. What I like to do is go, okay, and it's counterintuitive, by the way. It's counterintuitive when you're stressed, overworked, and overwhelmed to actually walk into the problem. Because naturally we step back, we go, holy crap, it's too busy, we're too busy. The problem is when you step back away from the problem, you see too much of the problem. Then you get more overwhelmed because you've got too many options right now. It's counterintuitive, but I want you to try this. When you're feeling overworked or overwhelmed, I want you to step closer to the problem. Because what you're trying to do is remove, it's like your side of vision, you're trying to remove all this stuff from this side. So the closer you get, I'm not saying that the problem gets smaller, but your ability to focus gets smaller. So you only get to the point that you need to focus on. Like Google Earth, 30,000 feet, There's shit tons going on, busy cars, all that stuff everywhere. You zoom in, you zoom in your house. Oh, it's one house, not a big deal. Zoom out, overwhelm, zoom in. So the quickest way for me when I feel like I'm getting a bit stressed out is I zoom into the problem. I know it's counterintuitive because you feel like you've got to retreat. Most people retreat. It's that fight or flight. They retreat. The problem is it's more overwhelming because you've got so many other fucking decisions going on. So zoom into the problem. And what it does is, remember, eliminate distractions. This is a forced way of eliminating distractions quickly by zooming into the problem. Because if you can just narrow it down and just look at the one or two things you need to do today and get them done, and then zoom out tomorrow, you just clear your head out. So that's a practical application I like to do. It's my Google Earth theory. Zoom out, too busy, zoom in, get shit done, zoom out. And that's what we're doing every day and every week. We're zooming in, execute, we zoom out, review. Did we get it done? Zoom in, execute, zoom out, review. You've got to be aware of this. So overwhelm is a feeling that there's too much going on. You want to remove that? Zoom in. You're sort of eliminating distractions by default by just getting them out of your sight. Cool? Cool. So, Craig, I hope you got a ton of value out of that. And I hope you, as the audience and the listener, got a ton of value out of that, because we just tackled not hitting revenue targets. We tackled team performance. We tackled sales conversions low. And we tackled being overworked and burnt out. Now, we've all encountered them. If not, you will. Trust me, that's just business. It's going to happen. But our ability to sit in that uncomfortableness, work through it, get it done, and move to the next level is going to be the indicator about how fast you move in growing your business. So guys, that was super fun. I really like doing real world problem solving. If you have something, if you have a sticking point, a roadblock, a pain point that you would love me to do, send it on through. I'd love to work with you. I'd love to work it for you. I'd love to work it live for you. I'll keep it anonymous if you like, but that would be super cool. Anyway, that was awesome. Cool. Hey guys, if you got value from today's episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss expert tips. If you want some support, check out the link in the show notes and see how we can help you. Don't forget to follow us on socials @PainterCoach. Stay cool, be well, and as usual, see you in the interwebs. Bye.